Hey family, how's everybody doing? I'm your host of Radio-Aseer. Get to the radio, get to you going on. We don't almost stop us on. This thing is really messed up as well as also heartache. Wow, that's really fun. Really great. Because of this thing already. Well, guys, try to stay on today. Not sure. Good. But just thank you for all of the support with us. Still with us, work. I got going through it. So, well, again, guys, this is nothing that I'm doing. I'm paying for a service that's not being rendered. Service. Okay, guys. We back in. Let's go through it with them. Hopefully the time adjustment is okay. So, here we go. As I was saying before we were really interrupted by technological keeping the blocks off, they think with us. I'm really interested to this retrograde that you must done, guys. Do it because shit is gonna come up and really stop. So, squad, sorry for all of y'all. We also want to get thank you, President, who was down current situation over that. Anybody situation. So with or going through this separating stuff. So thanks for praise for Warren Church, for that. And like you know, you're not alone. You could always tune into Heru Radio and we'll hold it down. You know? So specifically we're at a time in this that we can get to a point in which you don't have to deal with all of the BS that we're dealing with. However, things are starting to switch up. So I'm going to keep you to be aware and abreast of what's going on here with us. Specifically, one of the biggest things is that the North American youth think whether or not people are really accepting or trying to act like it's real or not real or whatever, it's really real, and that shit is really underway. One of the major things that was exposed in the process of that deal that was really proposed under Reagan, for those people who are history buffs and want to go back and say, okay, who first proposed it? That would be the Reagan era. And in that, the whole thing was caught up in what they call voodoo economics or Reagan economics, which are economics based on trickle-down theories that are essentially based on derivative, meaning speculation, not on actual money. Bankers do not make money on money. Bankers do not produce anything in the world but debt. Banks do not have money. They can only loan you the money that's in the bank. Therefore, everybody that puts their money in the bank is therefore a shareholder in the bank. Yet they treat you as a customer and therefore have the ability to charge you interest on money, charge you for the service of putting your money with them. And the incentive they owe you or give you is never as much as the money that you put in. And thereby, because they can't give you money, they can only accumulate money to your money over a succession of years. So what we perceive as money really is right now is really just servitude, slavery. Yet money back in the days has been older than it could have been anything from a giant cowrie shell to a person or a mule or a piece of gold, silver, what have you. Money in the old, let's say post-digital world was basically fiat currency switched over to become what it is now, which is the whole yoke of slavery over the humanity based upon the lack of money, which is debt. But a debt is a form of equity, because equity is based on a promise. It's not based on money. The equity in your house is not based on the amount of money you're paying into the house. It is based on the amount, the promise that you make that. Therefore, it's not necessarily of the rational or logical sense, which is why logically it makes sense that if you work very hard, you will receive the money that you are due. Yet, very rarely, especially in the modern economy, do you see that actually taking place. So then what we have is an untraditional form of financial servitude that has basically occupied this planet for the past 500 years, based upon the modicum of exchange they refer to as the debt. You know what I'm saying? So, specifically speaking, it's now gotten to the point where the debt is strangling the entire planet. People who have been perpetuating the debt are the ones who got the noose. Yet, it's only a little bit of them. It's not a lot of them. So the question is, how could they be running shit so heavy? Well, the reason why is because they got everybody else that's not in their little group thinking that they need to aspire to be on the level that they're on. That's why I say the biggest secret of the so-called Freemasons is the fact that they don't really have it. They're bluffing. You know, the best poker face is the one that wins, but the most of the time the poker face comes into play is when you bluff. You're trying to make people think that things is one way when they really be the other. See? So, specifically speaking, your so-called president is running the so-called country the way a dictator would, in the sense that, now, I'm all for original people progress. I'm all for black people getting money. I'm all for the upwardly movement of black people, and any black man in any type of money or whatever is great. You know what I mean? However, the more money that's accumulated, that means the more debt you got. So the problem with it is that it's hard for a lot of people to maintain a lot of dough like that to be that. So no matter how grounded these people seem like they are on TV, no matter how grounded and relatable and likable and regular person these people are, you have to understand the position that they occupy in the society is that of an overlord of a certain degree for you to aspire to be like, which means that when you see these people, you start to faint, fly, and all of that stuff the same way that people used to do back in the days when they used to see you walking down the street as a or whatever. It's just that's not based on the fact that they may be liking you, but it's based on your status, your title, which is no coincidence as to why equity is then based on title as well as the promise, because it's your word that comes into question in that, not how much money you got. With the ninja loans, for those people who don't know what that is, we coined it on the show, no income, no job accepted loans. They was just giving people money. Whether they had jobs, people just walking in off the street, just getting money. Getting all of that. So it creates a situation where people are in a situation where they don't know how to really function because they base their entire existence on accumulation of money, not with the happiness. Because when the country switched over from a republic to a federalized fiction, everything was put back on itself. So there really can't be anything really new. What they call progress is really a form of civilized barbarism. You know what I mean? So whatever type of app you want for your iPhone, you can get. But if you wanted to upgrade your iPhone to be able to see beyond whatever satellites that they got hooked up, then you got to work for them to learn how to do that. That's not cool. That means that everything is slided in their face. But when I say they, or the proverbial they, I'm talking about those people who have joined up with the big system to block everyone else down. And in that little 1% community, most of those people happen to be Caucasian. A lot of them also happen to be Jewish. A lot of them happen to be African. A lot of them are Indian. You know? See, what they understand is that money is the ritual that keeps everything going. So it don't matter what you're doing. Fine. So it becomes a situation where you don't even know how things kind of got to the point where, for instance, let's look at it economically. In the 50s, let's say in the 60s, you could get a 2-bedroom apartment for $650 and get a 1-bedroom apartment for like $450. But the 1-bedroom would be like a 2-bedroom, and you could maintain both with one job. Now, you can't have either with 2 jobs. You can't afford 2 cribs with 1 job, and not let alone a car. So again, that's not progress. How is that progressive? How is that moving us to the point that things are in a better position? It's not. What it's doing is that it's creating another situation, another scapegoat situation in which the American people are now trying to convince themselves they're trying to get as many bottles in the blue bin as possible. They're going through their house. They're changing up. They're switching mulch. They using hemp bags. They're trying to ban plastic. But why is it that the people who created this stuff are now the same people telling you that you the problem? You got to reduce your carbon footprint. Took the boy with a brother and his daughter. Me and my wife and the baby went to the NASA Science Museum out here in Miami. And they got a whole little installation on reducing your carbon footprint, getting rid of the particles that is basically polluting the planet. So remember the story footprints, though? Remember the story, the biblical story footprints when you were walking down and then you forgot how you got there, like found out that God was carrying you. They want to reduce that. They want to get rid. But guess what? Human beings' base nature is what? Carbon. So if you're reducing a carbon footprint, you're reducing the amount of carbon footprints that are walking on the planet. Let's just deal with it on the space surface of what they're saying it is. You know what I'm saying? What they're saying it is. Let's take it out of the situation of that. Let's look at it on just a pure basic level. Just the sound of it is letting you know what they're doing. And if you listen to how they position a lot of their stuff, more and more, it's becoming more and more direct, literal, in terms of the conversation, in terms of how they're implying things now. So it's okay to protest so long as you're protesting with police guards blocking you behind the barricade. It's okay for you to be an American citizen and have the right to do and be anywhere except in this park after 9 o'clock. So when they say that the city is coming to shut something down, if them people want to be dirty in that park, they want to kill each other, do whatever they say they doing out there in the park, then let them people do that. If that's their form of protest. How you know that's not just how they want to protest? No. Because it's not about the protesting. They actually want that. They want to entice and excite the possibility that something can pop off and things can be different. So that way they can give people false hope to fully commit to some sort of physical rise revolution, which then would bring down the hammer and they would feel more justified in becoming open with the stuff that they got planned. One of the biggest things they got planned is bill summary and status. The National Defense Authorization Act, under the terms of bill summary and status of the 112th Congress. Okay, this just happened. S.1857. This thing is the last, or one of the last, bastions of holding on to some semblance that there's some sort of equality in the United States. This is the thing that they want to basically implement to set up a system in which now pasta comitatus is actually done. For those people that don't know what pasta comitatus is, that is the division between what the military can do on land with the national people and what they can do with foreign. So this is why you have to have a difference between the civilian population, the police, and the military. Because the military is produced by people who came from the citizenry. So the citizenry has an obligation then to defend the republic, not the federal. The federal government compels you to join it, such as a draft, right? Whereas a republic, you elect and volunteer. You understand? That's why I ain't had no volunteers, no heavy surge of volunteers since World War II, because that was really one of the last wars, or the last war that they could look at and actually say that a lot of people were committed morally against what the Nazis were doing. Like, things was very, I didn't live back then, but in watching the History Channel and all the crap that they got on it, it shows you that people seem like they really cared about what is the people, regardless of whether they was guided or didn't know nothing or didn't have no real knowledge of who was manipulating what, they still seem committed to what it is they believed in. You know what I'm saying? So people were actually standing up for things. Whereas now, the only thing you stand up for is money. Not you, meaning to the Heru audience, but the most thing that most people stand up for is their money. But again, money is not the thing. Money is equity. Equity is the promise to pay, because they can't really do nothing with the money because they print the money. You can't feed on your own energy. You got to have an outside conduit to have that energy come in to then help amp you up to do something. So this is an old school Nation of God on Earth term when they say, mind detect mind, steel sharp as steel. This is the idea of what I'm saying about how we perceive the things that are happening to us and what is actually happening. What is actually happening is that they have a bill now, a specific bill, that I'll say it again, National Defense Authorization Act 4, Bill Summary and Status, 112 Congress, from 2011-2012, S.1867, which is interesting because 1867 was also the year that they put forth the whole the Civil War and all that stuff. Started had just ended in 65. This is 2 years later after now, the assassination of Lincoln and the reinstitution of the foreign central bank. It was very interesting that this is the number that it bust down to, but whatever. What it it really does is it basically says that the whole United States is a battleground. This is why they started calling this place the home of the free, or America, or North America, and now they basically saying they're calling it the homeland. They're calling it the homeland because the Nazis and the government are the ones who decided that that would be an adequate term to be a segue into what it is we're talking about right now, in which the homeland, or the father, see, here it's called a homeland, but in Germany they call it the fatherland, you know what I'm saying, which again denotes the ritualistic use of the female as the battery and the male as the changing agent. Which is why, like I said, whenever you deal with Dulick stuff and Golden Dawn stuff and all that type of Crowleyan, John B. Enochian stuff, a lot of people get possessed, don't even realize it. They actually, in some ways, possess themselves with what they think they know about what they're doing in opposite. But you got to remember, whenever you're dealing with outside entities and outside forces, you can't rationalize them the way that you rationalize human beings, because these things do not have brains. These things do not have backbones and spine. So they don't even have up and down where they at. So anything they're giving you is coming to you almost in a spiral fashion. So you got to look at how the trails are sometimes before it manifests. So specifically, one of the trails is this bill, which basically is a segue bill to be able to just totally just defecate on what was left of the so-called American Federal Republic to make way for the new. So, again, they use your boy to pump this because your boy has got it in the wording where they're acting like it's all good, where this is not going to apply to American people. But remember, Katrina, always back to her, or it, is the event that created the first deputization of private military contractors in giving them jurisdiction within American boundaries to kill American people, specifically black people. This has been proven over and over again, yet nobody is making this an issue, just like it was proven that the CIA created crack to funnel everything that they're doing right now, but everybody is still, but the number one people in jail, even though this is true, that's the truth, that could basically say that the government is complicit in every addict in America. The government is totally complicit in the fact that they admitted that they sold crack to a specific group of people, which means then they did it to everyone. Why do you think they put in iron filaments in people's food? Like I said last week, watch out for food that says fortified with iron. That food cereal has iron shards in it, small granular iron shards the size of an eraser shade. So this thing is getting progressively out of hand in their community. You know what I'm saying? In their community, it's getting crazy. So on that level, that's when they first got their stripes in that. Then they let Blackwater loose in Iraq. You can see all the movies about that. So what we have then seen then is the privatization of the American military handed over to privatized contractors, which means that you have no rights. They don't have to follow no Geneva Convention, no nothing, because they don't have, because the founding rules of their mandate comes from their charter, and their charter is they kill men, women, and babies for money. Dude is insane. But just because a psychotic is a psychotic, but this psychotic happens to be black, I gotta disagree with this person. I gotta just look at it like he's just like it's okay, like I'm supposed to just eat it just because well at least we got somebody in there. Yeah, but this nigga's setting up annex camps in places like the North Pole, in places like Antarctica, in places like Albania, in places like Egypt. There were more rendition centers in Egypt than anywhere else at one point. They said they got not only the waterboarding thing they got popping, but some of the cells they're keeping on tethered wires. So that means every day it's you in a cell that's swinging back and forth. Who thinks up stuff like that? Who thinks up stuff like that? It's not about getting information from people. I think these rendition centers are actually set up to feed on and pull huge amounts of foreground from people that they're doing this stuff to. Because it can't just be information. But when you read Fritz Sigmeyer's stuff, and the only reason why I check his stuff out is because he locked up, so that's probably why this stuff is relevant. And it always seems to check out. He basically said the reason that they're doing a lot of this stuff specifically is because of that fact. That when you torture somebody to a point, you can break through to an aspect where you can ask them anything. About anything. In anywhere in the world, or anywhere in the universe, and a person is in such a height of state of disassociation from the body because the soul is yearning to get free, that it will provide the info. Do you know that the current head of Al-Qaeda spent the majority of his time locked up in Guantanamo Bay, Al-Qaeda? And I ain't condoning him because they baby killers and murderers and all that too. But he wasn't plugged in like that prior to him getting locked up. He became a part of that once they tooled him up and sent him back to run the business for them in the Arab countries. To the point that you got members of the Muslim Brotherhood applying for government in Europe. The Muslim Brotherhood, another front organization behind something, which is really just another intelligence network database, the same way that they hooked up Al-Qaeda. Don't believe me? It's all online. You can go check it out. It's also in books. There's a book Brzezinski wrote that's almost a play-by-play book. It's almost like the plan book for the current political situation over there. It's called The Grand Chessboard. In which he talked about the whole Tim McVeigh thing, Oklahoma City thing, 2 years before it happened. Same way Prince is doing a concert somewhere 2 years before it happened, talk about Osama going to drop the bomb. Like, who put him in the loop? I mean, what mansion party was this dude at? Who gave that secret up during whatever Bacchanal or whatever the people did? Question is, we'll never know. All we see is after effect after these things get implemented. So if these people, go online, urge your congressman, wink, wink, right? What? You never know. Some of these people may generally not know. But the problem is Congress is basically impotent. You saw this in the re-election of George Bush when everybody in D.C. was throwing eggs and all that at him after he stole that election. And they told you that this dude was this dude's cousin. And he related to the other one too, Cheney. You know the Cheney that had about 52 heart attacks? Since he been vice president? That's not even a man. You don't know what that is. But even they, as crazy as Bush was and is, and will always be. They was not even crazy enough to flip this Iran thing, because it ain't about Iran. It's about China, man. These dudes hate this $1.2 billion that Corzine lost, this $1.2 trillion that Biden is responsible for, this $1.7 trillion bailout that they gave all of the banks, and then with the excessive bonuses after that. This is not about money even for them. It's about how much are they going to do and get away with before something stands up and does something. But that's the thing. They want the military conflict. They're prepared for that. What they're not prepared for is all of the spiritual and psychic stuff that's going to come online in us once it really starts going down like that. People just going to start waking up with new ideas and new things. The minute you create a trap for something, something within the trap is let out that other people and other energy uses to figure out how to get out of it. So the minute they come up with a rule, there's automatically somebody who already knows how to flip that. So no matter how strong and how utilitarian and how totalitarian the rule or the regulation or the protocol is, people are naturally programmed to break them. You are hardwired as a sentient reflection of the Most High to disregard and break out of any protuberance that exists around the soul, the mind, and the body to keep you locked in. And anything that is in your life that adds the added stress of confinement is therefore a prison. So some people don't never have to go to real prison because the prison they in is down. But in the grander, metaphysical, arcane sense, then we are all a prison in the sense that the body, according to certain aspects of New Age thinking, the body is a prison for the soul. But only a maladaptive thinker would look at something made in the image of the Most High as a prison. It's a shell, it's a vessel, but it's still beautiful and still relevant in a spiritual way that can make the physical reality better. Most people don't want it better. They want it exactly the way it is because that perpetuates the time flow that keeps everybody locked down. So last week, the group Anonymous was officially interesting. The United States has not declared war since World War II, but elements of the United States have declared war. Specific agencies have declared open war, assigned war proclamation against the group Anonymous, which is some sort of V for Vendetta like anonymous group of hackers all over the world who have been waging war against corporations and governments based upon them hacking into the database and finding out all the horrible things that these governments in the world is doing to people and is planning to do to people. Everything that these people are doing is based on the technology at hand. So it's better for them to tell you and make you believe that they got it all from some aliens than to tell you that they got it from the Nazis in World War II, that they know they done killed millions of people, white people, who believe in America, believe in the country and all that. They sons and daughters and stuff like that. So we got to the point where, like I said, it's gotten progressively heightened, is what I'm saying. So if you want to do the research to it, somebody wants to, whatever, I'm just bringing it to the attention because this is something that also then affects everything else. Because what this then also means is that the United States, the homeland, as it's declared in the document, is then declared a DNC. So as it's a DNC, it's given positive common protestants and relinquishing them and giving the military full right to create secret police, citizen assassination, tortures, internment centers, turning schools into internment protocols, moving people. So all of this coincidentally is going on while the Canadian government, on the other hand, through this whole North American Union, which is now being called something else, of course, is working to sync up the database between the two countries in the form of Canada handing over to the clandestine services all of the cellular phone information to the authorities in America. America, essentially, they want to make that the hub of the whole informational network thing, and then make like Mexico and Canada like the outline things that they can kind of make back to being turn it into like woodland areas and stuff like that. So that creates a climate of open rebellion, you know, that usually starts off with little skirmishes or whatever, and then usually develops in a more regulated stance once the parameters of how the grid is set up. The grid is the area on the inside of the demilitarized zone. Therefore, if you look at a map of the United States, to break it up into two aspects, the Eastern District, the Western District, Mississippi, separates the two. And then in Mexico and Canada, you know, those will probably have their own protocols, but the connection will be highway. This is why down in Florida, the huge, giant aspects of the freeway or whatever that are now like grown over with vegetation and stuff that not being used because they're blocking off the whole community based on they don't want people to go into certain places. So they're creating ghost towns, basically, in which not only based on foreclosures, but then with the outsetting of traffic out of the community, it basically makes people harder to live in the environment they're in, so they got to move. Once they leave, their property is then left for abandonment or turned into some sort of equity that they can flip in the future or whatever. So this has become the basic breakdown of how the financial and housing have all been privatized, sanctioned, and now almost being set up as stewards of those who make less than $500,000 a year. Which then, if the unemployment rate nationwide is 40, CNN put to the thing. So this is all their numbers too. I'm not, telling you to watch this with fine linen. I'm just saying that this is what they're saying their situation is in. So based on their numbers, if 24% of the nation is not working, and then according to their numbers, 19% of that are black people, but then black people only make up 35%. You understand? That means math-wise, a lot of that is not really gelling or coming together in a cohesive fashion for them to maintain the illusion that things are working. So through the conversion and reconstruction of now these units, this is all being supervised by the National Security, which is their job. So they are now going to be responsible for those companies, Blackwater, National Pride, whatever other militia-based mercenary contracting death squads that they hire. And also, these death squads and things were nothing new. They were doing this and preparing the populace for this back in the days during the crack era when they created the TNT, the TNT in New York, and the crash in L.A., and the Red Dogs in Atlanta, and the good old boys in Texas. You know what I'm saying? So these were all rogue police that was just out there as death squads, hitting drug dealers, stealing paraphernalia, drugs and everything else, and then reselling it back to the community. Raping, killing, having illegitimate kids with black women in the hood, junkies and stuff, leaving them, blaming them on black men. This has been going on for a while. But it's just now starting to affect the white populace. And see, that's when it becomes the issue. So, for those people in Canada listening, you might want to do the knowledge for that and contact your cell phone company if they're part of that, or go online in Canada, because there's things in Canada internet that's probably not in American internet, being that Google, which was created by a guy named Robert Bryce, his name is. Anyway, he created this. He created the microchip, basically, the Fairchild semiconductor. Robert Noyce, yes. And as a designer of the microchip, he's basically the one who said in his earlier work that the microchip is based on the grid that man has created in the city, which is why a matrix and everything else, and Tron and everything else is so passe now, because we're at that point, once we acknowledge through those movies, through those concepts and ideas that things were different in that way, we then were now upgraded into that understanding. So we started being able to go back and forth to the matrix. History of malicious is what it is. So in a truly free society, the occupied people could be there as long as they want and actually rally around something, but they have no real core political concept because they're not really functioning for that. They are a means of appeasement to make it appear that things are being moved towards some sort of progressive journey, but that's not the case. That's why Jay-Z can get on TV and talk about the Hill Pavement Tax. Great. But your ancestors was the ones who helped set this place up, so you're not supposed to be doing it. You don't train a dog, right, and then act like a dog to get the dog to train you to see if the dog know how to be a trainer. You don't do that. Human beings are the only people who do that. Other animals will imitate images of aggression and stuff like that based on that, but they don't actually try to become the other animals. Human beings are, and the human beings are talking about okay. So according to the UN, that's one of the difference. They have a whole scientific wing of the United Nations that they don't talk about. Just like NASA, which is now military, hopefully, well, possibly military aspect, now to be closed to the public side. They have things that they feel there. They feel that they maintain what it is they have made us believe they can do. So some people would say that perpetuate what is necessary. that's right. I don't think that's correct. Because being aware of the trap, first step in the business, and the nuances of the trap help from knowledge and how to get around that. Sometimes you got to sacrifice aspects to move forward. But it's coming to terms with the long one, how you dealt with it. It's that coming to terms with that. Four.
How's the boys in the weekend, man? They have a lot there Sunday. Okay. The boys said they coming to over there?
I can't.
Well, that's what he said, though. Yeah, because he got the light on over there. So you said they ain't got no lights on. Nobody don't say that.
Hello?
Hello?
781.
781, yeah, this man. I got you on the speaker, man. I'm actually at work, dog. I can't even. Hello?
My bad.
Yeah, man, yo, God, you wouldn't even believe how much I've been having deja vus, man.
So you've been having a lot of deja vu?
Yeah, man, so much so that it's kind of been fucking with my will. Like, I'm not even, like... You can hear me?
I can hear you now.
I'm trying to hear you a little bit. I'm like right next to the phone and shit. I'm at the mall where I work at. My question basically was, I couldn't even believe I got through, man. My question basically was to you, you know, since this basically started happening, this started happening to me earlier this year. I was kind of walking out of balance, and that wasn't like myself, you know. I wouldn't exactly say that I'm an individual that thinks a lot of myself, but I was kind of egotistical earlier this year, and, you know, I gained a lot of self-knowledge through that, through insecurity, and I saw how powerful that shit was, man. How powerful insecurity can be, and I just kind of spaced out, and I've been really apathetic a lot towards, like, the physical world, man. Like, not really, like you know, like the whole video game shit, the whole rocking gear and all this other stuff. Like, I just let it all go, man. Like, and my question basically to you is how, because I listen to Dr. Delbert Blair, I listen to Phil Valentine. I go in, man. I do a lot of reading, and I picked up Buddhism this summer, been meditating a lot. I've gotten a lot smarter, by the way. Like, my vocabulary's through the roof, and I know it's because of the pineal organ, which is kind of crazy. Like, it's not really crazy anymore to me. And that word crazy kind of bothered me, man. I remember listening to Dave Chappelle one time in an interview saying that, you know, crazy, calling somebody crazy, dismissive, and that couldn't be more true, man. So that's the last thing I want to call you or anybody else. And I actually look up to you. And first foremost, I want to let you know that, man. I kind of look up to you and people like Dr. Delbert Blair and shit. Because I thought I was going crazy earlier this year, but I'm back to myself, and I'm having a lot of intuitive dreams as well. But my question right now is just being on a bud, because I let it all go. I'm even letting the club scene go, and I still kind of party and bullshit because it's about having fun. Like, I don't know, man. What's your take on marijuana though?
Okay. Which one want me to do? Marijuana.
Oh man, I can't even hear this dude.
Okay. hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Deja vu is you being in the same place in the same time as all of the other different versions of you.
I knew it. I knew it. Yo, God, I knew it, son.
So it's like an awareness that you're in a spot where all of you walk to at the same point, which shows you that there's a connection, symbiotic connection between yourself and the different versions of you that orbit each other. So that's one thing. The second thing is what you're feeling is the second level of coming into this sort of consciousness, which is that the more you do, the less sometimes you see changes outside of yourself. You know what I'm saying? So like what you are building is so heavy, but then you are constantly surrounded by people who you know you can't really talk to about that. So we
there's only about like one or two other individuals in my life that I can talk to about this.
Yeah, we live in a culture that does not necessarily or has not evolved to the point in the mainstream to be able to see itself for what it really is. So we live in an espionage-based culture. So what you have to do is do things to slow down your expectation. See, the more you do this, the more you start to want to see things change for the better, and they do. Yet that's you changing, or that's you evolving or ascending. So you can only influence what you can influence. You can't necessarily go to someone and expect something from them, even if they say they're going to do that. So this don't mean that you don't hold people accountable, but it does mean that you have to sometimes make room for error. And don't necessarily jump the gun by thinking things is one way. The minute you feel that you got to a point where you have a lot of accumulated knowledge is when you should probably start reading other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because that means that there's an aspect of you that hasn't got to the point that you realize that for all you know, it's what you don't know. It's what you don't know is what makes the knowing more real. You understand? So some mysteries exist for a reason. So I can tell you how I have understood how they built the pyramids, in a sense. Yet, that's me telling you that based on the data that I've accumulated. But you can only trust that based upon the physical representation of myself that I put in the world for you to understand it from. But what I put in the world, if it's not reflecting what I am, then that's just a costume. You know what I'm saying? And people caught up in the window dressing of the shit and get caught up in the aspects and don't realize that they're in a cult. You know? They think is a group is really a cult. Or what they think is a nation builder think is really a coven. You understand? Because we still don't think, when we think of like magic and shit like that, like we don't think that our people who's on this is doing this for malefic reasons. Something off. Because that's what they always did at times in which we would come together. But this is the first time in history that you, brother, have the ability to perceive yourself, be yourself, and perpetuate yourself all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I'm starting to, man. Go ahead.
So you're at the point now where you need to do things like sleep with a bowl of water under your bed. You know?
I'm sorry, what was that? You repeat that again?
Sleep with a bowl of water under your bed. preferably a black bowl or a white bowl, whichever one you feel, whatever bowl you like. Put some water in it. We put that in the best.
What kind of material? Does it matter if it's ceramic or?
No, it just matters if you like the bowl or not. You know.
Okay, all right.
As long as you don't have no 666 on it or cross or upset crosses on it, you good. You know. Yeah, do that, and then clean out. Do a cleaning. The feelings of what people are calling crazy are elements of Chiron, the great healer, wounded healer, coming into existence and trying to show what's happening. But during these times, when sacrifices, but sacrifices for more spiritual things, and the positive, more than because we're getting close to the harvest time. I mean, it's close to the time of dead winter, and everything is officially kind of dead. So that way, by New Year, which is March 21st, you can start like, you know. So yeah, clean out the bread. You know, get the water. If you're in an area where you can't get a lot of sun, get a vitamin D supplement. Or eat a lot of kale and stuff like that. That's really good.
Yeah, I'm pretty health conscious. I used to work at Vitamin World, but most of that stuff I know now that, you know, it's pretty washed up as well. I'm doing the knowledge right now to like Legba and raw in the sun, and you know, your minerals and vitamins and why it is you should be taking them during the day, and the biological clock and all that. I'm going in on that stuff. But yo, this is so much to cover, man. Yo, I can listen to you for days, man. Really, man. Yeah, and I just one last question. You know how it's so that it's as above, so below, and I had a deep insight towards that. I'm wondering, since the universe is all inside of us, and I know that now through meditation, like I've clearly come to the point where I felt so light that once I've finished the meditation, it felt like I'm coming to, you know, to elevate and stuff like that. I'm wondering if common element is also inside of us. Like, since we're all a universe, each individually, I'm wondering if there's like a common element. I know it's this, you know, they got all type of names that they're calling it. I'm wondering if there's also like that meteor or whatever it is in us as well.
Yeah, well, everything, especially in the outer planets, or what we call the outer, all of those things are physical representations of things that are happening inside of your body. So, like,
that's esoterically right.
And it's a black man who his entire body is fake. I mean, but you know he's a black man based on the big nose and the big lips that you see joined in blue and shadow in the midst of the whole face. So,
yeah,
symbolically, this is, if you were to think about the universe outside in what they call space, and you were to think about your body on the inside and what it looks like, let's say it's inside with the basic function, all of those different things, those 9 planets correspond to, you know, different chambers and routines and total body, just like the gods do. That's why people will create physical representations of them and ascribe them certain qualities. Understood as that those qualities, by you looking at it symbolically for what it really means in a positive nature, allows you to then activate that thing within you that identifies with that experience, which is why they want to use the people experience. So anything that is too rigid, anytime somebody's telling you, don't eat that unless it's dead poisonous, somebody telling you, don't eat this, don't eat that, and that your spiritual development is based on their diet solely, that's mind control. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everything in moderation and balance. So it's not this or that. It's the medium of balance in between them and the ebb and flow. When you're on a boat, you flow up and down, up and down. Your heart go back and forth, back and forth. You know what I'm saying? But they want you to be one way. That's not true. There's nothing in this reality that's one thing other than what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, thank you, my brother, for calling, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I'm gonna keep tuning in to you, man.
Thank you.
All right, man. Take care. Much love, brother.
You. 904.
Hey, what's up, God?
Hey, what's up, Ken?
Ain't nothing to it. I didn't catch the first part of the show, so that's why I'm saying anything that's redundant to that point. You know, it's all to the good anyway. I'm sure you'll expound on it. But being that I'm not privy to that, you know, what was spoken earlier, I wanted to ask you, was your move to Florida, did you take any consideration on the attending pole shift and that move? How did you go about making that decision in terms of that?
Well, the foolishness that they talk about, walking through a movie called The Naked Truth by Albert Gore. And that movie was really a composite movie of a bunch of National Geographic snapshots of falling ice. And the premise put around that was that the planet was warming up. When actuality is the opposite. People don't talk about the fact that back in the 1600s, from the late 1600s to the mid 1800s, Europe was in an ice age. All of Europe. They were all encased in ice. That's why these black people, a lot of them in the royal families, the Bavarian families, the shit went crazy. Of the Holy Roman Empire went crazy and had to practice inbreeding because there was only over so many original people that was there. Because the Nordic, the only reason why we was there was because they had been descended from the people from their ancestors who had always occupied the position of watchmen over the Neanderthal incursions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the pole shift that took place after that ushered in what they call the Age of Discovery, in which now we had fallen into a so-called disposition. And under their understanding, we abandoned our government and started messing with them, paying them to do things to put us back in power in our government instead of us doing that for ourselves, which created a welfare relationship between the Masonic people in secret, whereas to the public it was marketed as we don't want to pay George for more money. You know what I'm saying? The same way now they'll tell you in this time that the war in Iraq was to free and liberate the people of Iraq. You know what I'm saying? That's just the slogan back then. So that is a polar shift. Then when the seasons changed and they started coming out of the ice, there was more of a this is when they had to become more and more adaptable to the world that was coming into view. That would have been predominantly a lot darker if not given into the circumstances that became history. But around 2000 came the magnetic polar shift, which is affecting all of their stuff now. They're just starting to really feel the effects of that now, in which they're having problems navigating their airplanes and stuff like that because the poles keep moving. What they're not telling people is that the ocean is extending itself every 42 minutes. You know what I'm saying? The ocean is, what I'm saying is that the ocean, to clean themselves, are creating more of itself. Somehow more water. Water is somehow creating more of itself, which is creating more pristine water in the center and pushing all the putrid water out closer back on the shore around us. They can't explain that, but this came into being when the magnetic poles shift, because the Earth now is organizing itself back into a state of ascension protocol. So they're trying to lock everybody down spiritually.
Okay, so you're saying that it's already occurred?
Yeah, it's happening in 2002.
From my understanding, that when it shifts, it usually shifts like 17 degrees, and the prime meridian, which would mean the prime meridian, is no longer in England anymore. What is it, Greenwich?
It wasn't Greenwich. Now they were trying to put it back to Denver, Colorado, where the Denver airport is at. Denver. You know what I'm saying? These niggas are hooking it up. They're trying to hook it up. There's a diagram that I want to show everybody that comes out to the lecture that we're going to have on Florida. Now, to check us that the Africa Bookstore at 3600 West Broward Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale. And we're going to be talking about the aspect of the game where they are trying to terraform, that the universe itself is kind of reorganizing itself around us. They're not telling anybody. You know, like I said, like there were 2 days, I think in 2003 or 2003, 4, or 5, and the Mercury planet disappeared for like 2 days. His brother Everett from the Academy of Cosmophysics on Facebook, speaks to them. We did it on that show. And then when it popped back up, Chiron was kind of influenced too. Meaning Chiron and Mercury is in Virgo. That's why Virgos in this period should be very careful about entering into shady dealings with people they're not sure of, or entering into sexual relationships with people who have kind of shown you they whack already, because you'll get wounded, you know. And depending on what type of person or what type of lesson you learn, depends on how big the wound, you know.
Okay.
So all of these are related to the pole shift, the magnetic pole shift that took place, which is why they got to recalibrate their instruments. They got to recheck them and recalibrate them every 10 minutes now. Like, it's getting crazy. They're losing control. So that's how you know they're trying to tighten it more. So the tighter they try to make the control, the more you know they don't really have something. That's the other shit. That's the thing that people don't have it brought on to. Okay.
They're most definitely trying to do that. Now, so the Chiron, you say Chiron, you mean Heru, right? Do I have that wrong?
People make that as poison connection, and I think it's true maybe symbolically, but I'm not necessarily convinced of the rules consistency, because the trajectory orbit, because Chiron essentially is an asteroid, and rules based upon the biggest calculations that they say it is. Because again, all of this is based on speculation. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. All of this. But you got to but what makes it true, or anything true, is when you get enough speculation stuff together that cooperates with certain things. That thing is the truth.
Right.
It's not we even getting to make this make sense to our people is not even really real. Yet, how else are we going to illustrate this in a capacity that people will understand enough to participate in their understanding of it to help find us a way out of it? You know?
Kind of like that 100 monkey effect that Doug spoke of. You got to have a critical mass before, something can come into fruition. And whatever psychic energy is directed towards, I understand that aspect of it. But it's Nibiru. It hasn't passed by us yet, has it?
Well, Fukushima and the red the Fukushima eclipse just happened the other day, so that was a bad thing, just like the melanin passed. But the thing about it is that these passings are not so much about what it is physically more than it is about what's changing in us, what's going away from us, and then as we are linking ourselves up with the symbolic nature of reality.
Right.
Most people are having 3-dimensional conversations. You are having 5-dimensional, 6-dimensional, 10-dimensional conversations. People like that can't understand you. That's why people listen to Super Heru feel sometimes isolated and disgusted, because sometimes even among conscious, some of the stuff these people be on is not, it don't make common sense. So as metaphysical and everything as I am, as we all are, it's still about, is it going to work? So if I ask a mechanic how he build a car, how to build an engine, he can tell me from the first bolt to the last nut how that engine is made. If I ask this more, how you get your nationality stuff straight, he's going to tell me this. If I ask this more, he's going to tell me that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're going to tell me different things. If I ask this sprint passer, if I ask a boxer how you become a good boxer, he can show me by training me how to do that. So there's a beginning point from my first punch to the time I first get knocked out to the first time I knock somebody out to the first time I become. You know what I'm saying? There's a progression, is a way to do that. If we do not have a consistent way to express the vehicle of our expression, then we are working against ourselves, because the energy that we are inputting is not manifesting into reality. Whereas people with imagination, but no, let's say, moral fortitude, and may be, let's say, idiot savants, are way successful. Look how much money Justin Bieber got. Like, look at that. Just as an example. He's not even, you know what I'm saying? How old is the kid? Like 17?
Yeah, he made 20 yet.
What do you do from this? Only thing you can do for somebody like that at this stage is make them king or something, queen or something. That's the only thing you do. You got to give him a nation. You got to give him something. You see? Because he's got influence. Because all these people worship him. He calls them the believers. Instead of believers, they call them the believers. Believers or whatever. So this is the way that the culture of the world has been steered around this idea of pseudo-monarchy, which again comes from money and exploitation of oneself. So the less moral character you have, the faster and farther you will rise in politics. You understand? Like Perry and these people for the Republicans, these people are millionaires. Every kid is a millionaire. People can laugh all they want at him. I think it's $1 million check every week. You know how much books he sold? Obama bought that. He pimped the book signing into a fake, I'm running for president, and then they created this whole section on him, and then, he's like, okay, I ain't going to do that. But he's still selling that book.
Yeah.
And that's metaphysics. That's shit, though. That's metaphysics. That's how metaphysics works for them. With us, you got integrity. You got character. You actually care if your woman is clothed or not. You know? You don't want to, join up with a certain group of people who are going to act like once you're down with it to other people that say that this shit don't exist. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be able to have a situation where every Thursday for 30, 40 years you're going someplace, you're coming home with your wife and your kids, and you're talking to them about everything but that. That type of shit creates a situation where that's all everybody is focused on. So you could be the nicest person and all of that. And if the whole shit come up with what you're doing, you lock down, that's the shit your family want to know about. And if they don't, and if they didn't, that means they didn't care about you. So this means to be a part of certain shit, you got to keep people who care about you away. That's a cult. That's a cult. There's a lot of cults in the conscious community that's being exposed. You know?
Yeah, they try to keep you, separated, and it's part of that programming, to make you eat, think, and drink everything that they're bringing it to you, which is a danger for anyone coming into any esoteric type understanding, because you have that, it's like going to get into a new relationship, you have that high. You can't get enough of that, that person. And it takes a few months to get over it, but it's during that phase that they go hard and heavy on you. And before you know it, that's your whole paradigm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that thoroughly. But I appreciate your input, God, and you keep doing what you do, man, and come next year. I've been waiting to get out of this year, but come next year, my situation is going to be vastly improving, and I heard the call of your queen, and I'll be coming through for you.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you, brother.
Peace.
Type that soul, think that we can able to stuff, not just this person force that all of that stuff they take themselves, everything like coming from soul and body. So I don't believe what everybody says is everybody, but and you have proven them everybody is wrong. That's why I know why a lot of people so quick to disavow certain other people. We all are works in progress. All are situations that we have to get with wrong. And you cannot be positive all the time. Stop believing that shit and stop letting that get you in situations where you agree to do things, to be a part of things that's not natural to what it is you are claiming you want to be a part of. My brother's mom used to say, his mom used to say, a monkey know it's treated fine. You know what I'm saying? And people know who they can dupe into stuff and who they can't. That shit is real. And certain people sometimes, and all of us have done this at points in time that we're vulnerable or not so aware of how our actions are affecting us and other people because we disassociate. We would disassociate from that element of ourselves and what happened. Therefore, when these late memories become real and then come into existence, we then fall into a vulnerable state. This is why whenever you see movies about the kid that doesn't know that he's really the prince or the spy or the whatever, and when he realizes and finds out this is who he is, that's when the whole shit starts. That's when the government people come out of nowhere and blah, blah, blah. So at the moment of realization is when the reality or the demiurge or whatever you want to call it, or the devil, or Satan, or the white man, or the black man, or whatever you want to call it, that's when it becomes aware that you are aware of its bullshit, and that's when you become a problem. And so the little thought forms and thinker puppets that turn people into start coming into your life at points, and then you start dealing with them. You're thinking that you're dealing with different people, but you're dealing with the same entity, with the same intention. It just was born in this person. Because when people talk about people get demon possessed and all that, you know how many so-called demons exist? And these people think that the rituals and the killing and the mutilated sex and necrophilic sex that these people have done for the past, let's say, from the time that they really learned to read, which was 15, which was 16, maybe 17, maybe 16, 17, they start learning to read, we start teaching them to read. So from that point to now, you know how many entities and demons, the ritualistic sects, and things that they misinterpreted or watched us do, or was deprived of seeing, or read a book about us. Everything that you read about the Kama Sutra comes to a white man, or come to a Hindu, so that's not the Kama Sutra. They don't know what they're reading. They don't know what those things are. This is what people are doing, and Indian people have supported this. So if their culture, if the people who come to India, if their culture was so immaculate, and they so superior to everybody else, how is it that people were dominated by British society when the British country or realm or corporation was only at the time maybe like 50 years old, 50, 60 years old? How did all of these old school Moorish kingdoms and dominions cease? Where'd they go? Where the people at? They all gone? They all dead? How come there's only Native Americans or people who call themselves that on this reservation? And how come all them people look like they the Filipino, Chinese, Japanese, Hawaiian, or what? What am I missing? Filipino. You can't say Malaysian, but they all black. You can't say same thing with Filipino. They all black too. But they're not black. They're Filipino. You see? But the Filipino came from a people called the Moros. The Moros were Moors who left Grenada and just went back to the land, because that's what some Moors would do. Some Moorish families were so rich that they just say, you know what, we're going to go back to nature. Just went in and started a whole tribe. We think the tribes come from. We think the tribe is how the tribe should have started. Why would a king allow a jungle to be created? Why would a king live in a jungle? All the places, blood places in Africa as well as now, why would he choose to live in the jungle part? And remember, the jungles at the time, you know, that we're talking about, according to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, 50,000 years ago, 75,000 years ago. So most of the equatorial jungles exist around the equatorial areas, and the rainforest and those jungles is over here. You know what I'm saying? They flipped it up, man. 347, Heru Radio. Peace, Heru Radio.
Peace, God, peace. Hello?
Peace. What's up,
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
This blog talk thing, man. I don't know, man. It's up and it's down. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You were speaking of things that don't make sense and common sense. What do you think of? First of all, look, I had a discussion at work today about Obama, and a colleague was telling me like he was watching 60 Minutes, and Obama was saying that yeah, he's on the boat, but if the weather is stormy, the seas is stormy, he could only do what he could do, right? And I told him, that you are the captain of the ship. So you got to take control of that ship. You know what I'm saying? All of us.
Well, I'm going to take it this way. With these things. Yes, it's very, when you know how to listen, you know what's being said. You know?
And I'm saying that we got to take control of that ship, like all of us. But with him now, like I compare him, I was comparing him to like say somebody like Castro. And I was telling dude that Castro flipped on the U.S. before they flipped on him. He used them to get in, but once he got in, he flipped on them. When he kicked out all them shells and Pepsis and all that, because they were exploiting people, right? So Obama got in, but he's down with them. You know what I'm saying? Obama represents what happened to us in Kemet, what happened to us in Western Africa. He is the amalgamation of what they used to get in. They use that to get in.
The doorway, the portal. That's what I said.
Right.
But over 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I was thinking about it. The portal. He's whatever you want him to be. He'll just smile and he'll be that. You hate niggas, it's okay. You're an American. I can get past that. You hate black people, it's okay. Black people, you hate white people, it's okay. We can get past that. We're Americans. You know? Don't got no money, it's okay. You know? I'll send you a stimulus. That's all I'll send you, though. But I'm going to keep the phone. It's very what it's always been. It's the people. It's really not even the government. It's not the government. It's not the entities they use. It's the people. It's the
exactly.
People who want to know and those who don't. Those who want to work on themselves and create the ship that they're going to navigate the time stream with, and those who don't, who want to navigate it with them.
And that's what I'm saying. Like this so-called, this Occupy Wall Street shit. Now, if anybody's paying attention, if you're paying attention, you would know that this whole collapse of the economy was done by derivatives. And if you're paying attention, they went to the Congress and like the Congress,
the promise to pay, not money. And then they give you the contract. They enter into the contract with you. And then behind your back, they go to another guy and say, look, I don't think this guy's going to pay the bill. So you pay me for it so that way when he defaults by a certain time, you can collect it from him. He says, okay. And then even when niggas was paying on time, they still did it. They still acted like they wasn't. Telling people they got to come up with $75,000 in a day. Remember they used to make movies like that? Where the people in the town had to get together, save the old store, and they had to create the money. They was preparing the force with that. Some kids.
What I'm saying too, the Congress, they allow these people not to put those derivatives on the books. You know what I'm saying? So they were making money going up, but nobody could see the money going up. But the housing market is on the books of the city.
What's going to Congress is like having a dope stripper in a room full of impotent dudes. You know what I mean? Like, niggas just not. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna happen. But it's not even real. These people haven't had a government since 1791, since we were running shit. So that's what I'm trying to say. And they don't want to come out and say that, because if they come out with that shit in a certain way, then it's gonna be like everything is a sham. It's all gonna go in there. So they'd rather destroy everything and get everything destroyed, make us kill each other. While they what? Cyborgs? What? Jumping rockets? What are they going to do? Go underground? What are they going to do? Try to open a portal into another dimension? Like, come on, man.
That's what I'm saying. So if these
people had somewhere to go, they would have been gone. But they can't live without us. Are you crazy?
Exactly. They can't
live without us.
They can't live without us. Exactly, King. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
They can't.
I was watching.
How you live without food? How you live without water? You can't do that. That's what we are to these niggas. And that's what all these apologetic, collaborating black people, they hate us. They hate us for talking about it. They hate us for touching it. I'm sorry. I didn't tell you to marry into the Rothsteins and to the frickin' rich and the, you know what I'm saying? That's your choice. Don't get mad now that they want to sacrifice your kid. You hooked up with them. That's what they do.
Speaking of them.
How am I in a bedroom apartment knowing this, and you in the mansion, in the ritual, and don't know that this is what they doing? How you think they keeping the money? That's what's so sick. You got black people now trying to do some of these fake rituals that these Hollywood fake niggas is doing to gain power and sex in these mansion parties and shit to get power and exploiting people in our community. This is what's going on right now. Right now.
Listen.
So it's what it is, man. But I appreciate the call, man. And the support, brother. Always.
All right, King.
Thank you. Safe out there, King.
All right, peace.
Three 347. You want to Heru Radio? Peace. Thought I heard somebody. Peace. You want to Radio 347? So yeah, man. Start to wind it down. I urge people to do things out of the ordinary around the period. One thing people should know about the base nature of things is that the more based you are in something, the more likely you are to have attributes of what people perceive as negative, which is a polarity of positive with a more aggressive expression. Positivity is always used to balance negativity, not to destroy it. That's why Batman will always put Joker in jail but never kill him. But if he kills Joker, then that means that he has no reason to exist. That's why I say, so when I say that a lot of people who are in this are acting like they want to stop shit, but yet still, it's going on, or they may like aspects of it to keep going because it gives them position. And a lot of people doing it are not, again, what they perceive. That's why when I say doing this, it is a subjective aspect, because some people equate the fact that they'll see you on the tape with someone and think that you and that person, because y'all live in the same area or have done a certain work, are the best of friends, or what these people have said about you is true, and that's not. In all arenas of life. So why would it be different in metaphysics? So what we have to do is take the blinders off to allow ourselves to see what things really are and not how we want them. So if you're eating healthy and eating vegan and all of that, being healthy and all of that, but your teeth are starting to, hurt, rot, stuff like that, and that means that you may need to start to eat quote-unquote real food. But some people have locked themselves into a conscious modality that keeps them and restricts them, and these could be things that actually save their life. But based upon mind control, it operates on diet as well. This is why diets are so big in America. When did dieting and Weight Watchers and all that shit start? When did obesity start? Why are they saying that by 2034, 80% of black women is targeted to be 80% of black women and their children will be obese. So this is a target market. This means that they're targeting you to become fat. This is why Precious couldn't win and all of that now. Precious couldn't win when Holly Berry was out. The fat black woman is expected in Western society because it makes the white woman look better. And white men dehumanize people who are obese or what they consider fat. In which now Americans have done that. Look at the Mind Control. They have a show called The Biggest Loser, knowing that the word loser means that you're a loser. It's a form of ridicule. But they've switched it to make it like losing the pound. So it's a double entendre. So on one hand, when you become a loser, you become a winner. But when you win, you're still a loser. This is what I mean about subtle, subjective conjecture just put into mainstream media as a means for subatomic. It's like subconscious styrofoam they use to pack the real message into it with. That's what stuff like that is. But that stuff like that over a succession of years has an effect, especially when you are literally unconscious or willfully unconscious. That's the other aspect. Can no other man be a better father than me for my child or me? But that don't mean other people don't want that for your position in that or that child from you, black man. Can't no other woman mother this baby like you, black woman. But sometimes this black man will just get with the other woman to hurt your feelings and make you feel like you're not doing that. Ain't nobody forcing us to do this. This is a controlled behavior that has manifested almost on instinct, which is why these people can try to clamp down and turn the country into a DMV. You understand what I'm saying? They want to turn the country. They have declared that the homeland, if they pass this thing into law, they are going to have the permission to do this. This means you'll see helicopters landed in the street, all types of shit. There's a movie that you should watch on YouTube called America, Amerika. Why do you think all of the soldiers, how they went from soldier movies where the soldiers were just like soldiers in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and by the 60s and 70s, the soldiers was in soldier suits, but it became more about the special branch of soldiers. Then, boom, they didn't really have another real soldier movie till Saving Private Ryan, which the majority of the dope part of the movie was the first 10 minutes. It's battle. Everything else was fiction. So that's what I'm trying to say. They have created a revisionist history in which they have now perpetuated a new type of military and have got us to accept it. A post-2012 or post-apocalyptic military. Which is why whenever you see these movies with the government, niggas is always in the black. When did all of the black jackets and the black masks and the black blast helmets with the visors down, and when did all that start? You know? They was preparing people with this from SWAT. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But when you look back on it now, in hindsight, we all geniuses. So yeah, we can say that now. But how are we going to stop that from manifesting, especially in a world where the more movies they make, the more they perpetuate what's going to happen. The more they raise the cost of living, the more people they got to kill, you see? Or the more people kill to stay alive, it's a perpetual imbalance. But it's a manageable chaos. But the manageable chaos is about to become totally chaotic. Because the world wants to go back to natural things. Even the Chinese, as establishment and crazy and whatever they are, they don't want to get it in. It's a real ill time when China is almost being positioned as almost a world savior against the United States. Ain't no black man made them do that. If it wasn't for hip-hop and the black man, they'd have been destroyed this country. How about that? How about we're the only thing keeping these motherfuckers here? Us and all of the people who have agreed to accept us as their dominant culture. And nobody wants to take credit for it. Nobody wants to stand up and say, we as black people created a culture that has re-civilized the entire world based on music. Nobody wants to stand up and say that. And nobody, until we do, ain't nobody going to give you the credit for that. Niggas going to keep coming out and saying they better than you. We live in a climate where they have put Eminem as the greatest rapper of all time. Do you understand what I'm saying? Even Eminem knows. This is how deep this shit is. Even Eminem knows that they have positioned him to be this, and he speaks out against it. But what do these so-called, whatevers do? They do whatever. And I use them because they have more influence in our community than Gingrich or Kane or any of these other people than Sharp than even ball players. Nobody got more influence in the world right now than rappers. I don't give a damn what you say. You understand? Lupe Fiasco is sitting down having lunch with the president. He's scheduled in. This nigga's scheduled in. You understand what I'm saying? So, again, when I see this nigga with a Palestinian flag on his microphone on some, rebel rock shit or whatever, cool, but you ain't gonna have no Moorish flag on there. Oh, wait. The Moorish flag is called the New England flag by the United States government. So, again, am I an asshole for saying it? Or are we all assholes for allowing it to continue? Probably both. But either way, y'all, it just busts down to the same thing, man. It's how we're going to do what we do with it. So whatever you can contribute to getting your house in order to get us to a point where we can have some sort of association to make that happen, let's do it. But really look at what these men, what these women are promoting. Somebody's telling you it's okay for you to, just have sex with somebody you just met. You and your mate go pick somebody up or whatever, just meet them or whatever, you just do that. That's cool, if that's what y'all into. But just know that if you make that the routine, then once somebody alters that routine, it's a wrap. The relationship is a wrap. That's because most black people can handle, niggas can handle a situation where you just boning for the night or 3 hours, but can you handle a relationship with all 3 hours in the same relationship? No. A lot of our people can't. But when I turn on the TV, I see the same so-called, these people keep telling me the white man the devil, right? We keep calling him a Caucasoid and this and that, right? Well, this devil's civilized enough to have a show where he got all 6 of his wives on the same show, and he about to marry another one. When does this man have time? When does he have time to do any of that? And he's supported. All you see is the gamut of crazy white families and how these people support each other with their knowledge. And they should, because that's their culture. Because they raped, tortured, killed, maimed, defeated, deleted, depleted, polluted, everything in the universe to get to this point. And now it's over. So what are they going to do? They're going to take it all with them or mess it up so nobody else can get it. And when I say they, I'm talking about anybody that's supporting this thing, because there are men and women under those black uniforms and those black helmets and applying every day in police academy, and they ain't joining this stuff to rebel against it or to protect you from it. They there to prey on you just like everybody else. That's why everybody who's real will always say ever big, because in the end, unless you're joining up with some sort of real protection from the people, you exploit it. because you've taken yourself out of perspective of a person. You become now a police officer, just like he becomes now a military. Just now he becomes special ops, just like he now becomes black ops. She now becomes Secretary of State. They're not human anymore. They're a part of the entity. They're a part of the tentacle of the octopus that's blowing black ink in your face and strangling you to death. But people don't care. Or at least the ones who say they do are applying instances that have been proven not only false, but proven not to work. And if they do work, they only work for a certain amount of people who are working it like that. And that don't work for everybody. I'm just saying, let's be realistic with this metaphysical thing in the community and talk about what we need to get out of it or to elevate it. Or if not, and it's going to stay just the way it is, then say, cool. Let's just admit that that's what it's going to be. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's wrong, she's wrong, he's right. No, I'm not caught up in none of that. Our job here at Super Heru Radio is to be as informational as possible and as passionate about the resolution of the truth as possible. And to do that, our show specifically has been marred by difficulties. That's not coming from us. That's not coming from my cheekbone. That's coming from the organism that everybody has now become a witness of. So the more people write them and tell them that they need to keep the show straight through an email, the better it is. And with the people's help, we will always be able to keep it on for as long as it is on, and hopefully graduate it and have to elevate it into another bracket. But until then, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to do it. But in order for you guys to know that, we had to do it. So it's a mutual relationship that's built on respect, that has nothing to do with your most embarrassing moment or my most embarrassing. It's about where are you all right now? Can we agree that the devil is in control of this shit? And if we can't agree that, then let's say fine. What aspect of God are we going to manifest? Generator, operator, destroyer, or government ordnance defense, Gumar Oz Dubar, whatever you want it to be, whatever you want to call it, a point that we can make it happen. But to do that, we got to get our own ships, like the brother said, in order and navigate our course and know what that is. So that way when another ship swims up the side, we don't have to necessarily stop course. We can sometimes get into a groove where we matching current. But again, they told you that black people don't swim. So you don't know how to understand nautical miles and knots. They make it seem like sailing was invented by the Greeks. But the Greeks who did this were called Ionians, and they were black. So you did it. You just forgot. So we're here to tell you, hey, remember, the end is not yet. You still have time to be the best that you can be now. So regardless of what people want to say about you, about me, or whatever, I'm telling you as your brother, you as your brother, to the women as my sisters, that it's not what these people are telling you it is. It's what you know and feel it to be. So whatever they're going to tell you, take it with a grain of salt and apply it when necessary. But don't let it become your God, because you will become the food for the divinity that you worship. You want to see physically how they do it through spells and all that stuff, all you got to do is look at the media and everything else. But what we are doing is promoting classes and things like this to help promote a certain awareness for you to shut it down off the rip psychically. So for those people who know things like that are true, then holler at me at houseofl@hotmail.com. Those of you who are listening and feel it has no relevance to black consciousness or black people or whatever, thank you for your opinion and your support. Because at least you're thinking about something that I'm putting out there enough for you to have an opinion on. So it means at least through your validation or disapproval, it shows that I'm still affecting. And that's what the reality don't like. When you can affect it. When you can stand for something regardless to who or what. It's hard, man. It's hard. They're going to try and test you every day, I'm telling you, as your brother. But at the same token, it's what you say it is. You see? So some people say that that's flip-flopping. But guess what? That's what reality is. There's nothing in this reality that's going to be. The road that you see right now is not going to be there 10 years from now unless you plant another one. So it's there, but it's not really there because it's limited. It's finite. So we're here, but we're not really here. That's why they're killing so many of us. Get a rose by any other name, it's still sweet. It smells just as sweet. And your aroma of clarity and consciousness smells like a bouquet of flowers to these entities, man. So don't share your solarium with them. Don't share the inner aspect of you with them just because they showing you or bigging you up or trying to drown you with compliments, man. Watch out. Be vigilant. Do your job. You know what I'm saying? And don't let these people bully you into what they want you to do. So again, anybody wants to holler at us on that for the class coming up this Wednesday, T factored by E equals art. Holler at me at houseofl@hotmail.com. Thank you guys for the donations. Thank you guys for going to our website, www.IseerTheEducative.com. Also, my brothers, www.sagaasad.com. Hit up the Saga. And inshallah, we'll speak to you guys next Monday. We're off this Friday. So thank you. Also, thank you, El Den, for holding us down with the re-edit. There's a brother named El Den on Facebook who re-edited our last show based upon the technical difficulties and got it as high as possible. So I thank him for that. He did that at his own volition. That's what I'm talking about. People just help. And it helps. It really does. It really does. And I appreciate everybody who sent support, donations, money, pictures, emails. I thank you. So with that, we say peace.